I'm Ariana Grande.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Erivo.
And you're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Visit vpn.fm to discover more.
There's a cat over here. There's a cat over there. And the wrong one died. And the wrong one died.
Welcome to The Wrong Cat Died, the podcast breakdown of the catastrophe. I'm your host, Mike Abrams, and today we have another amazing guest. Right now, you can find her at the Broadway Theatre in The Great Gatsby, but before that, she was Cassandra on the U.S. National Tour 6 before the pandemic. So welcome, Mariah Reives, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I'm
excited because I know we talked and hoped to do this during Funny Girl, but I actually am more excited to do this with The Great Gatsby because there's a really fun parallel with a couple of the characters that I'm excited for us to get into.
Yeah, I'm excited. Let's do it.
I always love to start history of cats. So what was your first introduction? Were you a dancer who saw the 1998 movie and loved it? Did you see it live? Like, where was your first viewing?
Yeah, so I am a little bit different than the typical dancer who has an association with cats. So I grew up dancing my whole entire life and started at the age of 3. And it wasn't until, unfortunately, this is like embarrassing to say, and it wasn't until I got my audition for the tour that I then bought the movie on, what is that, Broadway HD?
Yeah. And
it wasn't until then that I was watching it every single night of my audition days. So I watched it I think I watched it twice before I went into my initial call for the audition. And then I had it on my TV every single night whenever I got a call back to just like manifest that I would book it because I was just out of college. And so yeah, that was like my intro to cats.
I love that you saw it. So you just saw it for the first time as an adult. What was your first reaction to seeing it, knowing that you're going to go, like, did you watch it more to, I'm going to go audition, or did you watch it with like I'm going to be entertained, this is the story viewing?
Yeah, the first time I watched it to do like a study of which cat I thought I could embody the most, since I really had no prior introduction to it. And so I then was like, okay, let me just see which cat I feel like resonates with me the best. And that's what I'm going to embody in the audition. But then every night after that, when I watched it, I was trying to find different things, new nuances. And it was by the end of it, I was watching it for entertainment because I was like, this is actually a really fun show to watch. And the dancing in it is incredible. The choreography, like the way these people made their choices and all of that. It was a really cool experience. And I wish I had seen it earlier because it could have influenced my dancing as like a young child and like introduced me to musical theater sooner. Because I wasn't introduced into musical theater until I got to New York and was here for college. So, yeah.
Okay. So when you were watching that first time, who was the character that you felt you embodied most?
Believe it or not, it was Cassandra.
Okay.
And that is who I initially went in with that mindset for my audition. Mm-hmm. Just because I loved how sophisticated she was, how she allowed like nothing to really bother her, but she was still so fierce. And I was like, that seems exactly the type of cat that I could be. But then, of course, Mungo, Jerry, and Rumpelteazer were my next favorite just because they're just fun. Cassandra was definitely the cat that I thought I could embody the most.
That makes it great, right? Like, I think that's part of the beauty of the show is there's a lot of the personalities, and when they match, it seems like that happens like more often than not, which is like, that is me as a human. I can embody that cat. And it's occasionally you find it's like, no, this person is acting and performing, which y'all are capable of doing too.
Right.
But it seems like Cats skews a lot more to where they naturally cast people who are in that, like, who would be that person or be that cat.
Right. Yeah. And that's what everybody kept telling me once they saw it. They were like, I couldn't really tell if you were being you or if you were being this character, which I didn't understand at first because I was like, I'm just doing the movement and I'm a cat. Like, come on.
Yeah.
But eventually, like once I really settled into the character, she and I very much aligned with how we moved, how we interacted with the other cat. It was all one, really. So
that is so fun. Okay, so you get the role. You're going on tour. It's after the Broadway run ends, and it is going on tour. It's the first kind of national tour, I think, of Andy's choreography and production, and it's right around when the other movie was coming out. Mm-hmm. So what was that vibe like on that tour? I've heard from some other people, but it was quite a time for Cats. Like, it hadn't been back on around the country in a long time. Like, what was that experience like in the beginning?
Yeah, so I'm not actually going to go back a beat and say that I auditioned for the Broadway run, like when they were looking for a Cassandra replacement, but I couldn't make it to the final callback because I was home in North Carolina. This was like 2 years prior to me re-auditioning for the tour, and I did not remember that I auditioned for it because it was like a quick like, hey, can you come in for this? And I couldn't make it to the final callback because I was home in North Carolina. There was this huge like East Coast storm, so all flights were canceled. There was no way for me to get into the final callback. I was devastated. I was like, this is what my Broadway debut was going to be. I was going to be a cat.
Wow.
And I was so devastated that I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that there's no flights, there are no trains. There, like, if I were to drive through a storm, I'd have to leave like right at that moment to make it to the callback. And I was devastated. I was like, I'm never gonna ever be able to do the show since they then announced they're closing a couple months later. But then when I first went on tour with it, it was such a wild experience because our cast was so close and we all like got that initial like introduction to Cats together. Literally crawling on the floor being a cat. It was so great. But then we were in Toronto when the Cats movie came out. It was during Christmas time, and our production people got us tickets to go see it on Christmas Day. Now, a lot of our company like went away or like they were able to fly home. I was not able to do that just because there was too much to try and figure out with like 2 days off. And so we all went to the theater or to the movies to watch it. And it was a one of a kind experience. As most people I think would say that the movie is. We were all a little shocked about the certain elements of it, the CGI, how they try to make a story of it, but that only enhanced us then on stage because we were like, no, we are real humans. You can really see what we're doing, how we're interacting with each other, our story of, if you could say that Cats has a story of like what we're doing every night. And so it was a fun experience for us all to kind of bond together.
Yeah.
But it was definitely an interesting experience to go see the Cats movie on Christmas in Toronto with the cast. We were I think the only people in the theater. There may have been one or two other people who were not associated with us, but they've left like halfway through.
Yeah. It's everyone's experience sounds pretty similar for that movie. I mean, yours is obviously different with such, close ties to the material at the time. I went to a preview, like before it was even open and done. I went to one of the press previews. It was like 2 or 3 days after like the first like real big preview one. So it was a full crowd, but it was everybody invited. So you kind of expected, at least I thought it was like friends and family and then a few press people. Like I thought it would be a crowd that would be really into it and like knowledgeable of what was happening, and everyone was laughing. Like at parts that should not have been funny,
Right.
people were laughing. And then I've heard the reverse from all my friends that like went to see it in theaters like around the country. It was your experience. It's like I was by myself, or there were 3 other people here spread out in these big theaters. It was such an interesting movie. We don't have to go into details of that but the part I'm really fascinated about more so is that stuff like this, my podcast became because of that movie. And there was a lot of like extra emphasis on the show, like the knowledge about it. Like people knew it's been around for 40 years at that point. But there was this whole new wave of like, ooh, I haven't seen Cats in a while, or I went to see it on Broadway, or I saw it as a tour in the 80s.
Right.
So did it change kind of the audience dynamic after that movie came out? Did you notice kind of a shift of who was there, or was it still the traditional, these are the theater people that know Cats and wanted to be there?
Yeah, typically with our audiences, we had the diehard Cats fan. It didn't really. Some people at the stage door would be like, "So, what did you think of the movie?" So they just wanted to like know our thoughts. I don't think it necessarily swayed their energy towards our production of the show.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm sure PR gave you exactly the statement to say to that question, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to hear just my favorite part is hearing a little bit about fun stories from the tour. What was like super memorable for you? So what are those moments and the stuff that you will never forget?
Yeah. So I have a couple, but one was that I was able to bring my dog.
Wow.
I was able
the whole time?
The whole time. And
amazing.
He started out on tour when he was about, I want to say like 8 months old, 7 months old. And he was like our tour pup. At one time we had like 10 dogs on the tour. But Leo was there from the beginning. The whole cast loved him. I was able to, at certain theaters, bring him into the dressing rooms so that on 2 show days, I didn't have to worry about like trying to go back to the hotel to let him out, to then like get back to the theater in time. So I have a lot of fun memories with my dog on tour. He has seen most of the country than more humans have, I think. Just because like the way I would schedule out my day. It was like when we would get there on that Monday, I would immediately find food. And then the Tuesday before like our sound check and all of that, I would take him on long walks in each city, mainly to find the theater and find the stage door and where I needed to go, but then also just like have that chance to explore. And it was really cool because most people would like sleep in or like kind of just relax before sound check. But that was one of like my all-time favorite things, was being able to experience that with my dog. Rules have changed now since then. So if I were to go on another tour, he would not be able to come with me because he is a pit mix as well. So like most airlines don't allow pit bulls, which that's a whole other story for a whole other day. But yeah, so I was able to experience that with him. Another thing is that I reconnected with my current boyfriend on that tour.
Okay.
So we had known each other since we were like 12, prior to, just in the dance world. He's a tap dancer. And he was living in Austin, Texas at the time. And when our tour went through Texas, he sent me a message and was like, "Hey, do you want to get lunch?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Why not? Free food. I can't ever turn down free food." And we just we hit it off, which was kind of great. 2 weeks after that, he drove to Oklahoma City to come see the show again. And we've now been together for 5 years. So
wow.
That was he came to Toronto for my birthday. He basically followed the tour around. And he's great. So that's one of the sweet memories that I have from tour. Even though he wasn't on the tour with me, he basically he came to so many different cities. Like I remember he came to Chicago and he went to Atlanta. He came to my final show in Baltimore. So it was a really sweet and fun experience to have with him. And now to the good stuff. Let's see. I remember entering after one of the quick changes, and the person who was doing my change forgot to put on my tail. So it's the quick change after the Mistopheles magic light up.
Yeah.
And there was a moment where I then had to run into Wing One, take everything off and like whatever. And the wardrobe person picked up all of my stuff and started walking away. And I like slowly creeped on the stage and I said, I don't have a tail. So I had to like slowly creep back off to find my tail, to put my tail on because, you know, Cassandra has no fur. So it was just like, what? I don't know what's going on. Other fun memories I have. Let's see. There was a time that the Mistopheles magic light up of Cassandra happened not to me. So like I was getting Mistopheles' light cue.
Yeah.
But Mistopheles, it was so strange and everybody was laughing on stage. But like that whole lighting thing just didn't work. And then I realized I ran off stage and then my lights were still going. And it was supposed to be on this. It was just like a weird cueing that they messed up, which was really funny. Yeah, I've met some of the greatest humans that I'm still friends with to this day. One of them actually came and saw Gatsby last night, and we were able to like rekindle what we had because we were so close. Like the initial cast, we just all hit it off so well, even when we had replacements and things like that. But yeah,
that's awesome. Okay,
yeah.
I got a couple quick follow-up questions here.
Okay.
So one is, I love that you all brought dogs on the show, on the tour. Were there any cats?
No, there were no cats.
All dogs on the cats tour. Okay, it's so fun. I mean, dogs probably travel a little bit better anyways. And I love that you were allowed to do that because it just doesn't seem like something it makes the accommodation so much harder. Like you think about trying to find hotels that are dog friendly. Like it's already difficult to plan that tour, I'm sure, for that many people around the country. To add in that variable is logistically challenging, but makes it so much fun because it feels probably more like home to have your animal with you. When you talked about your boyfriend, I really thought you were going to say he was in the show. So I want to ask, which cat do you think he would be?
He would be, I think in his spirit, he is a Skimbleshanks.
Okay.
He is so, I don't know now, actually. Let's see. No, I think he's a Skimbleshanks for sure. Just because of how everything is so put together, but also not.
I love asking this question because I've done some episodes with like husbands and wives or partners just in general. And I'm fascinated by, would your cats be together? Like, you know, like if they were both in the show, should those two be like, is it that, like, are you embodying the personality or is it just like, yeah, off stage, you two have a really great chemistry? And it's most of the time, it's like, yeah, I was Bon Ballerina and I was Tugger, or I was, you know, it's like, that makes a ton of sense. But every once in a while I get one where I'm like, those two, I don't think on stage would be together. Yeah. And that's kind of fun. So I was curious if you found Cass's counterpart or if your boyfriend. Nope. Okay. Okay.
We are total opposite.
Okay.
But we come together in the best of ways. But yeah, no, that's why I was thinking like, no, who is the most opposite of Cassandra? Because I was thinking Tugger, because he does have that like rough and outer shell, but he's like sweet on the inside. But I think Skimble is the most accurate of how I would describe him.
I love it. We're going to take a quick break and then we'll be back for more of The Wrong Cat Died. Okay, well, you also teased into Gatsby. So let's talk about Gatsby because I got to see it and it was so much fun. I had a blast. I loved your tap number, right? You had this amazing tap number, and a couple songs really stood out. But I want to hear from you, like, being in the show, being on Broadway. It wasn't your debut. I know you've been on Broadway before, but it's kind of an entity that people know. Although I had a lady behind me that was very surprised at the ending, and I kind of turned around and being like, you know, this book's been around for a long time, right? Like
100 years.
Yeah. But for the most part, you know, like there is already experience with the source material. And so what would you like tell someone who's coming to see your production for the first time of what to expect?
I would say that you would definitely expect the largest and most live party. The way our production is put together, it is, I describe it as like big Broadway is back.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people have been describing it that way as well. It is so lush. It is so extravagant. It will definitely pull out your heartstrings, and you will get into love these characters and kind of understand the mindset of what our writers were going through to get us into these characters' minds. But I would describe it as just like big Broadway, yes, but it is such a spectacular for all of the senses, to where you can really just enjoy being in a whole other world. So like our choreographer, Dominique Kelly, did an incredible job of allowing us to bring our own individual to the show for the ensemble. But he wanted to make it feel like we were back in the 1920s with a modern day feel of it as well. So you're going to have the chance to see this world of the 1920s, but then also kind of pull between, is this in the 20s or is this happening today, because of the way that it was put together. And I think that was done beautifully, both by our choreographer and our director, Mark Bruni. The way that they were able to allow us to escape from reality, but then still have an understanding like this still could be today.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely see that. I think like when I walked out, I felt the costumes and just the whole, like, you felt immersed in the experience, which was great. Like to be able to be like, oh, I'm almost at this party,
right?
Which I know was the vibe that they were going for. The singing and dancing were incredible. Like the performances are amazing. And it's like, as somebody who I kind of went back in being like, I didn't reread it. It's been a long time since I like really saw the movie or read the book or anything, but it kind of slowly came back to me as we went. And I kind of love that. I was like, oh yeah, you're bringing me through this journey, but with a few modern twists. And then it's just such a, to your point, it's a big theater-y like version that I had a blast. And then my friend who came with me had a really good time, like just loving it. And honestly, it made it twice as funny when I don't think, spoiler, shocking moment at the end where the person was like distraught and could not believe it. I'm like, I couldn't get over. I'm like, did you not read this book growing up? Like, how did you not know this was coming?
Right. And we've actually had a lot of different reactions to the ending, depending on the show and the audience. Because I'm dance captain, I am often flung out so that I can note the show and show nice and tight. And so I'll be in the house with everybody as if I am a spectator. And one woman had to like physically get up and leave from the ending.
Wow.
And I was like, you're almost there. Just wait for the rest of it. But no, she had to like get up and leave. Sometimes we have audiences who are so uncomfortable that they laugh. There are some audiences that at the ending, they are completely shook that they start to clap. So it's like, it's interesting to see the different responses depending on the audience and their energy. But yeah, no, it's definitely big Broadway.
Yeah. It's going to be cool as a performer to see that though, because that means that you all are doing like bringing the material to life. Like it is meant to be that way. And it is like, it's been around. So, I had so much fun. I highly encourage everyone to go see it. It's a good time. Some of the songs I loved, that just like were stuck in my head for days after. And so it was, just a very fun and cool experience.
Yeah.
I want to do my favorite thing to do with all these new shows is to try to cast the cats as the characters. So we're going to put you on the spot here. I've spent a lot of time thinking about this, and I think I have them all, or at least a pretty good guess for all but one.
Okay.
And the one is Gatsby. So I'm actually going to go backwards.
Okay.
So
yeah.
let's start.
Literally the first one that I was thinking of. And I was
know,
like,
it's the hardest one. It's the hardest one. There's really no clear parallel there. But so let's go backwards. I'm going to start with, and I'm going to probably pronounce the last name, but Meyer, how do you pronounce Wolf?
Meyer Wolfsheim.
Wolfsheim.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think that is?
Hmm. Oh, goodness. Okay. He is definitely, I should have thought of this beforehand. He is, I know there's no like, oh my gosh, who is that character's name? Who fights, um, oh my gosh, it's not Growl Tiger because that's not there anymore. Or it wasn't in our production.
Yeah.
But it's,
I had him as McCavity.
that's his name. Oh my God. I literally was like, why? Wow. Okay.
Okay.
It is early. I did not have my coffee. Yes. Oh, McCavity for sure. Just because of how sneaky and behind the scenes he is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And like making everything work. But then it's like, oh, he is pulling the strings on all of this.
Yeah, he's the mob boss. And
Yeah.
that was, I felt, that one to me was actually the easiest one. I was like, this one is the clearest one.
Yeah.
Let's do George and Myrtle Wilson. So let's do those two now.
Okay. George and Myrtle Wilson. I think that George, he's not old dude. I can't say that.
I thought George was harder than Myrtle. Myrtle to me came right away.
I kind of want, just because of the story, Myrtle is kind of like a Grisabella to me.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wrote immediately.
Yeah. These are hard. Okay. No, definitely Grisabella for Myrtle.
Yeah, she kind of like runs off, does some stuff that's questionable. Is trying to come back. Like that one felt really clear. I thought George was a lot harder. I'm not even positive I like the one I have. But I had Skimble. I just felt there was a little bit of like, he tries to kind of keep stuff in order. He's like pretty organized with what he's doing with his job and work, but he is kind of doing stuff behind the scenes. So I was like, maybe it's a Mungo Jerry because he's kind of looking the other way.
That's kind of what I was thinking of, more of a Mungo, because he's not all there.
Yeah.
You know,
and
and
Skimble
Mungo,
is.
yeah, Skimble is very on top of it, and like everything is so pristine. That's why I was like, I don't know, but Mungo Jerry has like a childlike energy,
Yeah.
which is what George doesn't have. However, I think because of how just like aloof he is, I think George could definitely be Mungo.
Yeah. This is always hard because it's not
Yeah,
like, oh, they wrote cats into these shows. But it's always fun for me to think about because there's so many personalities in cats.
Yes.
There. So I think this one was an easier one for me. Tom.
Oh, Monkey Strap.
Oh, okay. I think that would fit. I had Buster for Jones. Kind of same idea, I think, is there, but just rich, posh, living life.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, I love that. The reason I said Monkey Strap is because he takes charge and like is leading in a way his family, but he's definitely not as loyal as Monkey Strap.
Yeah, for sure. What about Jordan?
Okay, Jordan is Bomb Ballerina.
Yep, that's what I had.
She has to be.
That one
she
was
has
clear.
to be. Yes.
And then what about Nick?
Nick, oh, he also could be a monk, but
I think I tied him too much to Jordan because I put him as Tugger because of that.
Okay. I see that connection. I just think Nick has such a more of a mellow energy than Tugger.
Yeah, I think that's true.
But I think Tugger, because of the connection with Jordan, which is what our writers created, which I think is brilliant.
So fun. It's such a fun storyline to put the two. And I mean, they're both so good. Amazing performances. Okay, I think Daisy's, I think I have Daisy, but for probably a little different reason. And then I have no idea for Gatsby.
Okay.
For Jay. But Daisy, I have an idea for.
Okay. Daisy is Victoria.
Oh, okay.
Because
I can see that.
Yeah. Daisy is Victoria for sure.
I went with Demeter because I think she's been put through a lot of stuff and has to deal with a lot of stuff. And then her best friend is Jordan, which is Bomb Ballerina.
Yeah,
so that was the reason I kind of went
better.
there.
Yeah, I think I chose Victoria just because of the way that Eva plays Daisy. She brings this like innocence with a little bit of a kick, with a little bit of spice. And I think Victoria has that innocence, but she's also the one that has that spice because she went up to Grizz at the end to be like, no, everything's okay. And she's still like, you know, learning and figuring it out. And she's also trying to figure out this life with Tom, but it's also because of Gatsby. That's good. But Demeter is also a great choice.
Yeah, those both really fit. All right, the hardest one. I still don't feel good about my answer for Gatsby.
Do you have Mephistopheles?
That's what I put, but I don't know. It's just because of the same like colorful lighting and like, you know, just like big and showmanship type of way. But it's nothing else about that personality matches.
No. But I think Mephistopheles is the only other one that I could really, that would fit the grandness of what Gatsby brings. And Mephistopheles brings that.
Yeah. My other idea was a young Gus, like Gus in his prime. But even that I don't know enough about to be like, Gatsby seems to want to be more behind the scenes and Gus wants to be as front and center as you can get. So this one was tough. Yeah.
I think Mephistopheles though for that one.
Okay. Is there anybody else I missed that you're like, oh, this is this cat? Like, is Cass in the show anywhere?
No. However, we do have Gilda Gray, who sings that big number of Act 2. And in a way...
She's got to be Jenny, right?
Yeah, I was just about to say, because I was like going through them all in my head. I was like, Jenny has like a motherly feel to her. And I think Gilda has a motherly way of her voice and how she sings it. And just like what she brought, and like because of her songs, like he kept going through the war, which seems very comforting. So yeah, Jennyanydots is Gilda Gray.
I hope I'm not spoiling for if you don't know Gatsby at this point. I have questions, but you do have now 2 shows where it pretty much ends with a main character being murdered at the end. So are you attempting to cover all of those shows in your career, or is this just a unlucky parallel?
Unlucky parallel.
Okay. I want to do rapid fire now because I want to go back to Cats. So that was super fun. And yeah, I mean, I'll link how to get tickets. Everyone needs to go see Gatsby. It was so fun. It, like you said, it is big theater. It's immersive. It is extremely well done. You'll have a blast there. So we'll link it. So everyone should go. It's playing at the Broadway Theatre, right?
Yes.
Amazing. Okay. Some quick rapid fire. If you could perform one night as any cat, whether you're capable, male, female, who would you want to go on as?
Mephistopheles, 100%. Oh, well, it's a tie. Mephistopheles or Victoria.
Great. Yeah. Two incredible numbers. Who are your favorite and least favorite cats?
Oh, well, my favorite is Gus. My least favorite is Tugger.
Okay. Favorite song in the show?
Favorite song in the show. We don't really sing it, but it's the Jellicle Ball.
Yeah. Favorite song in Gatsby?
Favorite song in Gatsby? That would have to be New Money.
Yeah, that was mine. I loved New Money. That was the one stuck in my head for days after.
Yeah.
Which cat do you think would throw the best Gatsby style party?
Bomb Ballerina.
That was where I was thinking too. I think Bustopher Jones is funding, and Bomb's planning, and
Correct.
Skimble's running all the stuff behind the scenes to make sure it goes on time.
Correct. And Mephistopheles is performing.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay. Most important question. So I've argued at length. I don't think Grisabella is the right Jellicle choice.
Okay.
So who do you want to choose as your Jellicle choice and why?
I think my Jellicle choice would be Jennyanydots. And I've had this thought since I started the tour, just because of the way that she gave back, the way that she was that mother figure to everybody, the way that she nurtured and was just a sweet, sweet soul. I believe that Jennyanydots should have gone to the Heaviside Lair.
I love it. It's not Grisabella. So I'm going to ask a couple follow-up questions. I don't want to, anytime someone says anything that's not Grizz, I'm like, great, we're done. So what is the criteria that you think goes that Jenny's picked? Is it the who deserves it from what they do for the tribe? Like, what does that feel like?
I definitely think it's who has given the most energy and effort to the tribe, to keeping everybody together, keeping the morale high. She was also the cat. Like, if there was anything that was going wrong, you go to her. All the little kittens went to her, looked up to her. And so I think that's the criteria, and not somebody who's necessarily been through it all, left everyone high and dry, and then comes back and be like, I should be the one. No, sorry. Even though she sounds beautiful and can sing out Louise, but it's like, I think it's a different criteria. It comes from a little bit deeper from your heart and your soul versus just like your circumstances.
No, I agree. I agree completely. And did your cast ever talk about this or think about it?
No.
Never?
No, we sometimes talked about it and like just like joking, like, oh, we're just going to switch up the cats tonight. Of like who goes up the ladder. But we never really talked about it at length. No.
Okay. Who would be your Gatsby Jellicle choice?
My Gatsby Jellicle choice. I would then say, I think Nick.
Yeah. I think that's a good choice. Kind of does a lot of the work.
Yeah. And he's finding it, he's looking, he's seeing all that's happening. But our writer did a great job of having him have a realization of like, why aren't you staying with Tom? Or why aren't you leaving Tom? And then like seeing that realization of like, this is my life and this is the struggle that I have to go through, but I also have to live with this difficult decision. And how he has to contemplate that and how he has to work through these two very different ideas of these characters. And I think that says a lot for him and his character and what he has to then move forward with. So, yeah.
I love it. This has been so fun. How can people stay in touch with you on social media and everything you're doing? And then we'll link obviously all the stuff for the Gatsby for people to go get tickets. Yeah.
So I'm on Instagram and TikTok at Mariah Reives. And I usually give an update every day about, my life and what I'm doing and different things like that. And you can also come see it at the Broadway Theatre.
Yeah, please do. If you're in New York, go see it. It's so fun. You'll have new money stuck in your head too. And it's a great time. Maybe read the book before you go, or at least kind of like read the Wikipedia so you're not surprised. Would be my advice. But yeah, it's a fun night at the theater.
Yes, and depending on when you are listening to this episode, we just had 3 of our singles of our songs drop at midnight.
Ooh.
So you can listen to some of the songs. Our album doesn't come out until later on in June, but we did drop a couple of singles. So go take a listen on any streaming site, Apple or Spotify.
Okay, so this is coming out in early June. So there's at least 3 singles out, and then the album coming out shortly after.
Yes.
You listen, depending on when you listen to this, these will live on for a lot longer. So hopefully you can just listen to the whole thing soon.
Yes.
Amazing. Well, this has been so much fun. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing about your experience in both shows and reliving your cat's memory a little bit.
Yes. Thank you so much. I had a great time.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And thanks everyone else for listening to this episode of The Wrong Cat Died, the podcast breakdown of the catastrophe. To follow along, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other podcast. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and if you still use Threads, at The Wrong Cat Died, or check out our website, thewrongcatdied.com.